Cleopatra lived closer to the invention of the iPhone than to the building of the pyramids. Let that sink in. The first pyramids were built while mammoths were still alive. Woolly mammoths, walking around Egypt, while humans were stacking million-ton stones. Oxford University existed for 250 years before the Aztec Empire even started. Your history textbooks left a lot out. Today we're counting down 10 history facts that will completely rearrange your mental timeline. Let's get into it. Number 10. Mammoths were still alive when the pyramids were built. The Great Pyramid of Giza was completed around 2560 BCE. The last woolly mammoths died out around 1650 BCE. That's a 900-year overlap. But here's where it gets even stranger. Most mammoths were gone by then. But a small population survived on Wrangel Island, an isolated island in the Arctic Ocean, until 1650 BCE. When the pyramids were being built, mammoths were still roaming. When Cleopatra was born, mammoths had been gone for over 1,000 years. The pyramids are ancient, but mammoths are even more recent than you thought. Number 9. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. Oxford University started teaching students in 1096. The Aztec Empire was founded in 1345. That's a 250-year gap. When Oxford was already 200 years old, the Aztecs hadn't even built their first temple. When Oxford was celebrating its 200th anniversary, the Aztecs were just getting started. Oxford is also older than the Inca Empire, older than the Mali Empire, older than the Ottoman Empire. Some of the oldest universities in the world, Oxford, Cambridge, the University of Bologna, were teaching students before entire civilizations existed. Number 8. Cleopatra lived closer to the iPhone than to the pyramids. Cleopatra was born in 69 BCE. The Great Pyramid was built around 2560 BCE. That's nearly 2,500 years apart. The iPhone was released in 2007. That's about 2,000 years after Cleopatra. Cleopatra is often pictured as an ancient Egyptian, but she was Greek. Part of a dynasty started by one of Alexander the Great's generals. She lived closer to the moon landing than to the pyramids. When Cleopatra ruled Egypt, the pyramids were already ancient ruins, older to her than she is to us. History isn't a straight line. It's layers on top of layers. Number 7. Gandhi never won the Nobel Peace Prize. One of the most famous peace activists in history, nominated 5 times between 1937 and 1948, never won. The Nobel Committee later expressed regret. In 2006, a member said, "It is a great disappointment that Gandhi never received the prize. He deserved it more than anyone." Why didn't he win? Some say it was because he was assassinated before the final decision. Others say it was because the committee had concerns about his non-violent resistance strategy. Since then, the Nobel Committee has created a Gandhi rule. They now consider posthumous nominations in special circumstances. The man who inspired Martin Luther King Jr., Nelson Mandela, and countless others, never got the world's most famous peace prize. Number 6. The Great Wall of China is not visible from space. This is one of the most persistent myths in history. Your textbook probably said it. Your teacher probably believed it. It's not true. From low Earth orbit, where the International Space Station flies, the Great Wall is barely visible even with a telescope. With the naked eye? Impossible. The wall is long, over 13,000 miles, but it's also narrow, only about 20 feet wide. From 250 miles up, it's thinner than a human hair held at arm's length. The first person to debunk this myth was Chinese astronaut Yang Liwei in 2003. He said, "I couldn't see the Great Wall." If astronauts could see the Great Wall, they could also see highways, airports, and large buildings. They can't. The myth started in 1932, before anyone had been to space. It just never died. Number 5. The shortest war in history lasted 38 minutes. The Anglo-Zanzibar War happened on August 27, 1896. It started at 9 a.m. It ended at 9:38 a.m. Here's what happened. The previous Sultan of Zanzibar died. His cousin seized the palace and declared himself ruler. The British preferred another candidate. The British gave the new Sultan an ultimatum: leave the palace by 9 a.m. or face war. He refused. At 9 British warships opened fire. The palace was hit within minutes. The Sultan's only ship was sunk. By 9:38, the Sultan had fled. The war was over. Casualties: about 500 on the Zanzibar side. 1 British sailor injured. The shortest war in human history. Over before lunch. Number 4. One king stole an entire country. King Leopold II of Belgium never set foot in the Congo. But between 1885 and 1908, he personally owned it. Not Belgium. Him. It was his private property. Leopold extracted rubber, ivory, and minerals using forced labor. Workers who didn't meet quotas had their hands cut off. Entire villages were burned. Estimates suggest up to 10 million Congolese died during his rule. The Congo was 77 times larger than Belgium. Leopold became one of the richest men in the world. He never visited, he just collected the profits and the bodies. When international outrage finally forced him to give up control, he burned the Congo's archives, destroyed evidence, rewrote history. Number 3. 1816 was the year without a summer. In April 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia erupted. It was the largest volcanic eruption in recorded history, 100 times more powerful than the 1980 Mount St. Helens eruption. The volcano shot so much ash into the atmosphere that it circled the globe. Sunlight was blocked. Temperatures dropped. In 1816, snow fell in June in New York. Lakes froze in July in Pennsylvania. Crops failed across North America and Europe. Food prices skyrocketed. Famine spread. People called it 1800 and froze to death. The eruption also caused strange weather patterns. In Switzerland, the dark, gloomy skies inspired a young Mary Shelley to write a horror story. She called it Frankenstein. A volcano in Indonesia caused a global famine and inspired Frankenstein. Everything is connected. Number 2. Napoleon wasn't short. This might be the most persistent myth in history. Napoleon Bonaparte is remembered as a short, angry man. It's not true. Napoleon was about 5 feet 7 inches tall. That was slightly above average for a Frenchman in the early 1800s. He was not short. So, where did the myth come from? 2 sources. First, French inches were longer than English inches. When his height was recorded as 5'2" in French measurements, it translated to about 5'7" in English. Second, his enemies called him the Little Corporal as an insult. The nickname stuck. The truth didn't. Number 1. Ancient Egyptians invented toothpaste. Thousands of years before Colgate, ancient Egyptians were brushing their teeth. Archaeologists have found toothpaste recipes on papyrus dating back to 4 CE, but the practice likely started much earlier. The recipe included crushed rock salt, pepper, mint, and dried iris flowers. They mixed it into a powder, added saliva to make a paste, and applied it with their fingers or a chewed stick. Romans later added crushed bones and oyster shells to their toothpaste. It was abrasive. It worked, but it probably tasted terrible. The ancient Egyptians also invented breath mints. They boiled frankincense, myrrh, and cinnamon, then formed them into small pellets. History is full of surprises, and your textbook left most of them out. 10 history facts they didn't teach you in school. Mammoths and pyramids at the same time. Oxford older than the Aztecs. A war that lasted 38 minutes. A king who stole a country. A volcano that inspired Frankenstein. What ties them all together? History is stranger than we're told, and most of the good stuff got left out. If you made it to the end, hit that like button. It helps more people discover the real stories. Subscribe and ring the bell for more mind-blowing facts, hidden mysteries, and things you're not supposed to know. And hey, next time someone says Napoleon was short, you know the truth.